Good morning. Good morning, Shmuel.
I was on the other one for a while.
I sent out, I told her to put it on WhatsApp group that it's on this one. Okay.
So
Was anybody else there? No.
No, it wouldn't let me in, so it's...
Ah.
But Moshe put on now that you're on here, so it should be fine.
Right. We're up to Pehei Omud Aleph. 4 lines from the bottom. The Mishnah told us that it's possible to plant 5 different kinds of vegetables in a vegetable plot which is only 6 tvachim by 6 tvachim. So the Gemara says like this: Omarav aruga b'chur b'shoninu. We're talking about a vegetable plot amongst a barren piece of land. But if it would be amongst other vegetable plots, it would be forbidden. And here we have many dramatic charts. And it's actually quite straightforward. And that is like this. If you look at this picture over here, what happens is you've got 9 different vegetable plots. Each one, you want to plant 5 different vegetables in the 6 tvachim by 6 tvachim. Now, if you only got one by itself, that we said is no problem, because you can just plant vegetables on the side and one in the middle. Here, when you've got a lot of vegetable plots around, it's extremely difficult to be able to plant 5 different ones around, 4 around the border, 1 in the middle, without being over kilayim between each other one. So Rashi explains that it is actually possible, and the way to do it is by only planting next to the corner. If you only plant next to the corner, then what happens is you've always got a gap. If you look over here, there's a 3 tvachim gap from the middle one to the sides. From this one to the next one, there's only 2 tvachim, as we said earlier, that you have a tefach for walking around to water it, a tefach around each vegetable plot. Plus, you've got the fact that you're not planting all the way across to each other. So therefore, you've got 3 tvachim space between each one. Therefore, says the Gemara, why can't you do planting of the vegetable plot even when there's other vegetable plots next to it? What's the problem? That it's going to be a mixture. It's not going to be a mixture. Why is it not going to be a mixture? Because you've got the ability to plant only in the corners and not directly opposite each other. And therefore it's okay. Most Gemaras have a picture of it in Rashi over here inside the Rashi, even if you don't have the Pirush Chai. And the Gemara's question is, plant only in the corners. We're talking about what you're going to plant across the entire length. And if you're going to plant across the entire length, so then if you plant next to it again, you're going to end up creating a matzah of kilayim. And therefore that's why it's no good. Let's plant only on the outside and not on the inside. Meaning, why did Rav say that the Mishnah is talking about one vegetable plot in a barren land? Because he was worried about kilayim. Talk about a situation where there's other vegetable plots around. But the reason why it's not from of kilayim is because he's not planting across the entire thing. All he's doing is like this picture, the picture which Rashi brings, where he makes sure never to overlap across in the same line. And there's always he leaves always a tefach space, plus 2 tvachim between each vegetable plot. So you've got 3 tvachim space. Says what Peher with base. We're chayshish that you might fill the entire line, and when you fill the entire line, it will be a problem of kilayim. Let it be like a triangle vegetable plot, or the head of a cow. I just want to show a little bit over here. If you look over here in this picture, you've got a vegetable plot over here, vegetable plot over here. And this, the Gemara says, is okay. Why is it okay? Because this is planted like that, and this is planted as a square. Therefore, what happens is everybody can see that the two fields are not intermingled. The reason it's called a rosh Torah, this is just a technical thing, is because the head of an ox looks a bit like a triangle. The head of an ox looks a little bit triangular. And in the olden days, when they would plow the fields, they would always, the middle line of the field, they would plow further than the sides. As they would go further to the sides, they would plow less length. So most fields finished off in a triangular shape. Now the halacha is a triangular shape going into a square shape is permitted. Why? because everybody can see that it's two vegetable plots. It looks like a whole new field. Since it looks like a whole new field, therefore it's okay. This halach, that two vegetable plots, we do not consider it a mixture, is only by a field, but not by a vegetable plot. Because by a vegetable plot, since it's so small and insignificant, people do mix them up. Says the Gemara, he says even one vegetable plot amongst others is still permitted. Very more oh, they're going to get mixed up. And it says more, where you only do one line here, one line there, and you don't overlap the two lines next to each other, and therefore there's always going to be 3 tefachim space. This is Rashi's mahalach. Tosfos has a completely different mahalach. The reason being, one question, a mathematical question. Between each vegetable plot, we said there's 2 tefachim. Why is it 2 tefachim? Because you need enough space to water it, and it takes a tefach of the width of the foot. So therefore, you need to have one person walking next to one vegetable plot, another person next to the other one. So there's 2 tefachim space. And Rashi adds that there's a tefach space between each line. If you look over here, this line and this line, there's another tefach space because you don't plant the whole line and the whole line. So you've got one tefach upwards and one tefach across. For Tosfos, that still doesn't give you 3 tefachim, because in the mathematical, when you go up 1 tefach and then you go across 2 tefach, you haven't actually got 3 tefach space. You've only got 2.4. And therefore, Tosfos has a kasha that therefore it should still be awesome. Because of that, Tosfos explains that you're actually planting everything as only in plots with spaces between each plot properly, like this. Okay, we'll leave Tosfos for the moment. Okay, so it also says like this. Omaola. Boy b'ma'arova. They asked Ma'arova and they saw the following shayla. If kia telem echodav they kula mahu. This is an interesting shayla. What happens if you dig a furrow through the vegetable plot? A furrow is not the same as a vegetable plot. Why? Because since it's dug, it's a bit like a ditch. So everybody can see that it's not part of that. It's not part of the plantation. And if it's since not part of the plantation, it doesn't look mixed up. It's no good. The entire thing is awesome. According to Rav Sheshes, everything becomes awesome. Why? Because since you plant it in the vegetable plot, you have forbidden it. It doesn't. Why? It's because at the end of the day, it's a separate planting. You planted a furrow, and the furrow, everybody can see that's a different part of the field. And the person does 2 rows of cucumbers, 2 rows of pumpkins, 2 rows of a certain kind of bean. Mutter, that's all mutter. And if you want to do rows, 2 rows of cucumbers, 2 rows of pumpkins, 2 rows of beans, that's fine. But it's forbidden to 1 row cucumbers, 1 row pumpkins, and 1 row something else. Why? Because it looks like it's mixed up. How can you say that when you plant a whole furrow, it's mutter? Here we say it's forbidden. These particular plants, like cucumbers and pumpkins, they produce long shoots, and the shoots grow outwards, and they get mixed up. And since they all get mixed up, therefore it looks much worse. When you're planting vegetables which have got these long shoots coming out, then indeed 1 row is forbidden. In our case, where he was still about planting little seeds like peas or carrots, things like that, that's permitted. If you want to fill up your whole vegetable plot with vegetables, you make a plot 6 tvachim by 6 tvachim. You make a circle of 5, and you can fill it up with whatever you want. Here, somebody wants to try and utilize his vegetable plot the most. He wants to plant lots of different things. So he makes a circle of vegetables, and over here he plants in each direction a different plant. Are you going to say to me, how can this be mutter? In the end of the day, all the vegetables look very, very mixed up. The answer is it's not so mixed up, because this is a circular shape and this is a line shape. So therefore, people can see that you're actually planting different things.
Why are we not worried about the corners though, like we were worried last time?
Let me just show this 1 second. This picture looks more clear. Can you see that people can see there's a circle, people can see there's lines, and therefore it's okay. You can't plant though in the corner literally. Why can't you plant in the corner literally? Because if you plant in the corner literally, then the two will look mixed up. So if you plant these lines and this circle, therefore that's okay. Here I've got a more dramatic picture, but here you don't see the circle as well. So this is all okay. So what did you say, Chaim? I didn't catch what you were trying to say. Oh, it's clear. Okay. So that's what Yochanan's shitta, that it's possible to plant the whole area. At the end of the day, you've got the areas around the vegetable plot over here, which will be forbidden because they'll overlap from the next field. And says the Gemara, indeed, then what will happen is that you're going to have to leave empty. That means you're going to have to leave the binayim, the space between the vegetable plots, empty. Because if you plant these two vegetable plots next to each other, and you plant also over here, then what will happen is these lines and these lines will then get mixed up with the middle, and therefore it's no good. He says it's still permitted. How is it permitted? If you look at this diagram, one of them you plant vertically and one you plant horizontally. Therefore, what happens is, can you see these are vertical, these are horizontal. Sorry, these are horizontal and these are vertical. Vertical is up to down, horizontal is. Therefore, what happens is you could even actually plant between the vegetable plots. As long as someone planted one way and someone planted the other way, then it doesn't matter. So therefore, according to Rav Ashi, even areas between the vegetable plots will also be allowed to be planted. Planting a vegetable plot in the plot. Then you have to do it in a 6 tvachim plot. So you see that what is again avoid this like has to be with 6 tvachim. And we see them top of Pevavam Dalef, Ketabla Merubas, like a square. Says the Gemara, Ketabla Udashoi, it says clearly that it's only permitted as a box, but if it's not a square, it's forbidden. How can you say as a circular it's permitted? As a circle is not so distinct from a square. And therefore, as a circle, it should be forbidden. And it's more that's for a different color. That means when it's a circle, it's only permitted if one's a circle, as we show the picture, and then the rest of them are lines. So then you can see that's a circle, that's the lines are permitted. But if one circle goes into another field, that's forbidden. Because what happens is you can't see the difference between the circle and the field next to it. Masha'en kain, if it's a square, and one finishes off into the other as a triangle, that is permitted. And that's why when the Mishnah, the Brisa says that it's permitted as a voish, as a square, it's coming to tell us this color over here. If you look in this over here, this could be a part of a square, right? You're seeing half the square, it's just on the slant. This is permitted even if one goes into the other. Why? Because since this is a square and that is a square, and one goes into the other in a triangular base, therefore it is permitted, right? I'm talking about a square which you put on the slant and then you stick it into the other. So that would be permitted. So that's only permitted by a square, not by a circle. So when we say over here that the halacha of vegetable plots has to be in a square shape, we mean because of this problem of voishtoi, of going into another field. That heta you do not have by a circle. To fill up the vegetable plot, that you do have as a circle, and therefore a person can fill up the circle in the middle with having lines around the sides, and it will not look mixed up. Rashi points out that earlier we said that we don't have the heta of voishtoi by an avrukum. That by a vegetable plot we don't say the heta of voishtoi because it's so small, people do see it mixed up. Evidently, this Gemara here argues and says that you do have this heta even by an avrukum. Okay, that was quite a complicated cheshbon. We'll now start a new topic. So even if it's not clear before, this is a new thing. This is mamish to do with Mamad Har Sinai. That's like this. Shichva zera, the semen of a man, is metame. It's actually tummy. Touching it makes a person tummy. Now, it's tummy for the man. It's also tummy for a woman when she's peletis. And if it drips out of her, it makes her tummy. But only as long as it's still viable. Once the zera, once the seed will not fertilize, after a couple of days, it loses its power. It gets ruined. It starts smelling and gets ruined. then what happens is, then it's not metame anymore. Says the Mishnah, how do we know that even on the third day, 3 days after having relations, if it comes out of a woman, it's metame? Be prepared for the third day from Matan Torah. And the Gemara will discuss it at great length. So we'll leave it for the Gemara to explain halachas. How do we know that if a child's had Bismillah, and on the third day after Bismillah, we're allowed to wash him, even if it doesn't look like he's not well, we can assume he's not well, and we're allowed to wash him, even if it causes chilul Shabbos in the process of washing him. Why? You see that Shimon and Levi, when they destroyed Shechem, they waited for the third day. What's significant about the third day? Because the third day, the baby is particularly ill. So we see that the third day of Milah, the baby is not well. And since it's not well, so therefore we see that you're allowed to be Mechalal Shabbos for a baby on the third day of his Bris Milah. How do we know? You tie a red string in the head of the goat, which you throw off the cliff. If they're red, they'll go white. There's a special nest that they would tie half the thread to a rock, half the thread to the horns of the goat, push off the goat, and the red thread would actually turn white. So therefore, it was a nest that was a remiss to the idea that those Averas which were red turned white. How do we know that drinking is like eating on Yom Kippur? It's not drinking. Anointing is like eating, and therefore you're not allowed to anoint yourself with the oil on Yom Kippur. The Pasuk describes that a person absorbs, just like he absorbs water, he absorbs the oils that he anoints himself with. So we see the idea that anointing actually goes into the body just like water does. Right. So our Mishnah tells us the first two halachas are Peleta Shichva Zara. Peleta Shichva Zara is a woman that discharges Zara. And the halacha is that she's Tomei. Now, there's a machlokes of exactly how long is she Tomei for. It's a machlokes Tanoi. Says the Gemara, Reisha Deluka Blos Ben Azai. The Reisha is not like a Blos Ben Azai. Seifa Kav Blos Ben Azai. The Reisha is not like Blos Ben Azai because he says it's a different time period. And the Seifa is like Blos Ben Azai. He holds on the third day's Torah. And Mashenkin, the second halacha is like Blos Ben Azai. There's a Mishnah that's contradictory. The first halacha of the Mishnah is not like Blos Ben Azai because he says on the third day, Peleta Shichva Zara is Torah. The second halacha that we wash a baby is like Blos Ben Azai because later we're going to learn that Blos Ben Azai is the one who says that a baby on the third day is not well. It means like this. Later we're going to have a big machlokas, and it actually comes in Afkamina halacha l'maisa. Even today, how long is a Peleta Shichva Zara Tomei for? Does anybody know the Afkamina for today? Do you know the Afkamina for today? How long is a Peleta Shichva Zara Tomei? A woman, you have less relations on midday on Monday afternoon, midday on Monday. So let's say she's Peletis on Wednesday, midday. Is she Tomei or not? What's the fact for Nafkamina? Nowadays, we're all Tomei anyway. Nafkamina is that if a woman sees blood, then she always has to wait 5 days before she starts the Shiva Nikim. Why does she have to wait 5 days? Why does she have to wait 5 days? Does anybody know? Do you ever learn the halachas of the 5 days that a woman has to wait before she starts Shiva Nikim? Why? The answer is because we're choishish that she'll start Shiva Nikim and she'll be Peleta Shichva Zara, and the Shichva Zara will make her Tomei. Oh, so why do we wait 5 days? The answer is wait for the 5th day, because we're very machmir about how long Peleta Shichva Zara is Tomei for. It means this is the shaila we're going to be discussing. Therefore, the nafkamina of how long a woman's Peleta Shichva Zara is how long she has to wait before she can start the Shiva Nikim. So now our Mishnah, which says that the third day she's Tomei, is not like Blos Ben Azai. Yet the second halacha is saying that a baby does bismillah on the third day. He's allowed to wash him, etc. That is like a Blos Ben Azai. So the word says like this. Rashi explains that in Bava Metzia we have a Mishnah which seems to contradict itself. And there are two explanations in the Gemara brought there. One explanation is that the Mishnah is half like one mandama and half like another mandama. Another explanation is to try and fit the Mishnah in a specific case and try to reconcile two halves of the Mishnah. we see, says Rashi, that there are two approaches whenever we have a contradiction in the Mishnah, how to solve it. One approach is to say that one half Mishnah is like one mandama, and one half Mishnah is like another mandama. That's one approach. Another approach is to try and somehow fit in the Mishnah that it's not a contradiction. So now the Gemara says over here we're going to have the same two solutions to our Mishnah. The Gemara says, the one who does not want to, Rashi says it's like more above mitzvah, that doesn't want to say that one half of the Mishnah is like one Tana, one half of the Mishnah is like another Tana, so Tana Roisha Tahira. He changes the gilsa of the Mishnah. Instead of saying Tameo, it says Tahira. And then he can fit in the whole Mishnah like Kabbalah Zayah. That means if you prefer to fit one half Mishnah like one Tana, one half like the other Tana, so you don't change the Mishnah, you just say one half Mishnah like one is not. If you want to always fit in the Mishnah like one Mandoma, so you've got no choice but to change the beginning of the Mishnah. And now the Gemara brings three different shittas regarding Peleta Shechva Zera. Is it clear the phrase of Peleta Shechva Zera? Is the problem clear? Not clear? Again, a woman has relations with her husband. What happens is Zera goes in. Then afterwards it drips out. The beginning of it dripping out will make a tummy. But after a few days, it will no longer make a tummy. The reason it no longer makes a tummy is because since the Zera is already a few days old, it's not possible for it to actually fertilize. It cannot produce any more pregnancy. Therefore, it does not create tumah. The machlokes over here is how long does it take for it no longer to be tummy? How long does Zera take for it to stop being tummy? That is the shaila of the Gemara. Gemara says like this: three different shittas. That's the shaila. Razal says it's got to do with days. The third day is Torah. That means one has to understand the Yiddish day always starts at night, by Nacht, right? The night. So if, let's say, on a Wednesday night, let's say the night came in at 6 o'clock, and at 1 minute past 6, she has tashmish, she just has relations. So then we count 3 days. So the whole of Wednesday, because she had it after Wednesday, the whole of Thursday, and then Friday, the second Friday starts, the minute after Nacht comes in, that is, she is Tohu. Because even if she's Piletus, it doesn't matter because it's already the third day. Let's say she had Tashmish 1 minute before the end of Wednesday. That means Wednesday afternoon, 1 minute before Nacht. So again, we only need to count 3 days. So how long do we have to count? 1 minute of Wednesday, that's a whole day, plus the whole of Thursday, and then 1 minute into Friday. So it's really, she only waited 24 hours plus 2 minutes, and she's actually already Tahira. Why? She's not Matami, which is Piletus. Because he said the third day is Torah. If you work it out, the third day, we counted 1 day from when she was, because she had relations a minute before Nacht, and then the whole next day, and then 1 minute afterwards, so she's Torah. That shit is of Loza ben Azayah. Rabbi Shmuel says, he says that no, the third day is Tommy. The third day is Tommy, and therefore, since the third day is Tommy, so therefore sometimes it is, Oina is a 12-hour period. And Oina is always a half a day. A day or a night, meaning half, what we call a day or night, is considered an Oina. A full day is a day and a night. Says Rabbi Shmuel that sometimes it takes 4 oinos, sometimes 5 oinos, sometimes 6 oinos. Meaning like this. He holds that it takes 3 days for it to stop being viable. And once it stops being viable, it's not matami. So if she has relations 1 minute after Wednesday comes in, she has to wait the whole of Wednesday, the whole of Thursday, and the whole of Friday. And only 1 minute into Shabbos will then be okay. That's 3 whole days. That's 6 oinos. If she has relations 1 minute before the end of Wednesday, so she has to wait that 1 minute of Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So she only has to wait 48 hours plus 1 minute. So he says sometimes it's 4 oinos, sometimes 5 oinos, sometimes 6 oinos. It's always 5 oinos. If a bit of the day went out, then we give her the rest of the day. Meaning like this. According to Rabbi Akiva, it's nothing to do with days, it's got to do with time. Rabbi Akiva says it takes 60 hours. So let's say she had relations at 12 o'clock on Wednesday. You just count 60 hours from then, and then it's no longer the Zah, it's not a Tameh anymore. That means Rabbi Akiva argues with the first two Tanoim. The first two Tanoim say it's got to do with days. The first Tana says it takes 2 days. The second Tana says it takes 3 days. But it doesn't matter how long the day. A day could be 1 minute, a day could be 24 hours, depending on when she started having the tashmish. Rabbi Akiva says no. Rabbi Akiva says it always takes 5 oinus, which is 60 hours. And if you missed a bit of the first oinus, let's say she already started one of the oinus, then it carries on all the way into the middle of the next oinus. She can actually come to in the middle of the oinus. Now, all these 3 shittas are all learned from Matan Torah. What happened was that the Shloch Hu told Moshe Rabbeinu that nobody should do tashmish with the wives for a few days before Matan Torah, in order they should all be Torah on the day of Matan Torah. There's a machlokes later as to whether there was 2 days or 3 days before Matan Torah. Did Moshe Rabbeinu add a day or not? We know that for the men to become Torah, it wouldn't have taken so long, because if a man has tashmish, he becomes Tommy. All he needs to do is go to mikvah, and he's straight away Torah. So therefore, the purpose of these 2-3 days was certainly not for the men, because the men would have been Torah that night. The purpose of these 2-3 days was for the women that would be Peleta Shechva Sarah. And since they were going to carry on dripping afterwards, therefore they needed, they were going to be discharging afterwards, therefore they needed to have time in order to become completely Torah. So the Gemara now is going to cheshbon each one of these shittas, how it fits in with Matan Torah. What's like this? Amor Banon Kamedo Apapa. They said it for the Apapa. Vomilo Apapa Loava. Bishtem Arbazuna Zaya Kurabanon. He always like the Banon. The army, they say. That they did. Everybody agrees that a Torah was given on which day of the week? Which day of the week was a Torah given? Everybody agrees it was a Shabbos. So, that they started doing Prisha on Thursday. So since they started on Thursday, so therefore they had a bit of Thursday, the whole of Friday, so therefore that's 2 days, because he holds a bit of a day as like a whole day. So a bit of Thursday is Thursday, Friday, 2 days, and on Shabbos they got the Torah. It's a right that the 3rd day is Torah. That they stopped relations on the Wednesday. So had a bit of Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, that's 3 days, and then Shabbos, you see that it takes 3 days is Tomei, the 4th day is Torah. And Rabbi Akiva, what's Rabbi Akiva say that it has to be 5 oinus? The most like it's no longer that what? That they stopped having relations on the Wednesday. Moshe Rabbeinu went up the mountain very early, and he came down from the mountain very, very early. It says Moshe got up early in the morning, went to Har Sinai. It says go down and come up. Makish, we compare Yevida Aliyah, going down to going up. Ma'aliyah Bashkama, just like they went up early. After Yevida Bashkama, went down early. So therefore, like this. According to Rabbi Akiva, on the Wednesday, Moshe Rabbeinu got up very early, went up to Moshe Hashem. Hashem said to him, tell everybody to stop doing tashmish. And then he came down that morning very early. So now let's work out how long were they purged from the wives. The whole of Wednesday day, because he came down Wednesday day, that's 12 hours to Wednesday night. The whole of Thursday is 24 hours. And the whole of Friday. So that is 60 hours. That's where Rabbi Akiva got his 60 hours from, that you need to be purged for 60 hours before, in order that the zel which falls out, which is discharged, will not be tummy. Says the Gemara, if that's the case, why would you have to come down and tell them not to do tashmish on the Wednesday day? That a yid does not do tashmish during the day. The reason is because if he looks at his wife, if he sees something, a person should only do tashmish in the dark. And during the daytime, one doesn't usually have darkness. And because it's a matter of sneers not to look at places that he shouldn't. So therefore, since the Kaisa will not have tashmish anyway during the day, why did Moshe need to tell them to be purged Wednesday morning? It didn't matter. Because anyway, Wednesday day they wouldn't have had. And by Wednesday night, he could have told them. So why did he have to tell them beginning of Wednesday day? Answer is, if it's a dark house, it's permitted. Talmud Chacham Mafa B'Talisa Mutter. Talmud Chacham is allowed to, even if it's not a dark house, is allowed to cover with a cloak, and that way it's dark and it's mutter. So again, there are 3 different shittas how long it takes for the discharge from the woman of the zera to become not viable anymore and therefore not tongue. They're all learning it from Matan Torah. There's a machlokes whether they stopped Prisha from the wives on the Wednesday or the Thursday. Therefore, the Mandama says they were pushed on Thursday. There was only actually 2 days. That means Thursday, Friday, or Shabbos Torah was already given. So you see that 2 days it is Tomei, the 3rd day it's Torah. The Mandama says it was Wednesday. You've got Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 3 days it was Tomei. The 4th day it is Torah. Rabbi Akiva says, no, I don't go after days. I go after hours, after time. I say it takes 60 hours. Why? Because Moshe Rabbeinu came down at the beginning of the Wednesday day. So then you had the Wednesday day, because it's not the Wednesday night before, because Moshe Rabbeinu came down on the Wednesday morning. So Wednesday morning till Nacht is 12 hours. Plus, you've got the whole of Thursday, the whole of Friday is 60 hours. Furthermore, why do you have to tell them Bichlal not to do Tashmish during the day? And the more answers, because in a dark house, or Talmud Chacham could do it in the dark way, and it is okay. Top of base. Furthermore, what's for the Yomi? If you say that they did, that they toveled on the Shabbos when they were going to Matan Torah, the halacha is whenever you tovel, you have to wait for Erev Shemesh. That's the first Mishnah in Brachos. That Tvila by itself doesn't make a person tovel. So therefore, the only way they could have been told is if they toveled on Friday, because if they toveled on Shabbos, it's no good. Because if they tovel on Shabbos, they're not going to be told till Motzei Shabbos, and then it would be Tomei by Matan Torah. Elamai, they must have been toveling on Friday and then being told by Friday night. If that is the case, so therefore you got to minus that day of Friday from the time of Pilatus. The Torah was given even to somebody that hadn't yet done Erev Shemesh, meaning that there's a bit of Torah by going to Mikvah, and the complete Torah is only by Tvulim, that they never had. Nitna Kamas was actually given over Uya Kamas. It was fitting to be given. That means in theory Hashem would have given the Torah had there been Tvula Yom. But the Maaseh never happened. Why? Hashem arranged it that all the discharge that they had from all the tashmish that they had before Matan Torah, all of it came out already on the Friday. So therefore what happened was there was not a single woman that was a Tvul Yom, because they all went to Mikvah on Friday, and then they were already told by Shabbos morning. But the Maaseh, the Gemara is saying, had it been, Hashem would have allowed the Torah to be given anyway, because since they'd already been to Mikvah, they hadn't yet done Erev Shemesh, that's good enough. If the whole reason they waited for Shabbos was for Tahara, so according to you, the Torah was already Friday afternoon, just before Shabbos. That means by Friday night, they were all Torah because of Erev Shemesh. If that's the case, why didn't Hashem give the Torah Friday night? Answers more. Hashem said that I don't give Torah in private and secrecy. I give Torah in public. I'm not scared of giving Torah in private. I'm not going to give Torah in private. It's much more covered for the Torah to give it in public. So therefore, Hashem gave the Torah Shabbos morning. If Hashem was going to wait for Shabbos morning anyway to give the Torah, because he wasn't going to give it Friday night, because he wanted to give the Torah in public, in daylight. So if that's the case, he should have then told them to Torah Shabbos morning. And if they Torah Shabbos morning, then they don't need to separate so long from the husbands. They can separate much less, because you just said before that the Torah would have been given to Tvula Yom. So let them be Purish 1 day less, and rely on them going to Mikvah on Shabbos morning. Answers the more. Hashem did not want that while the men are going to accept the Torah, all the women need to go to Torah. That would have been impractical. It won't be right. So if Hashem wanted them, they should be Torahing on Friday, and they should be Torah on Friday night. Therefore, you have to work out the cheshbon. Again, let's work out the cheshbon. Hashem didn't want to give the Torah at night. Why not? Because he wants to give it during the daytime. It's more covered. He didn't want them to go to Mikvah Shabbos morning because he didn't want that the women should be going to Mikvah while the men get the Torah. He wanted that all the women should be Torah. How can that be? So therefore, we've got 3 opinions how he did that. One Mandama says that they separated already. They separated only on the Thursday. So stopped having Tashmish on Thursday. So you've got a bit of Thursday, that's Thursday, plus Friday. Therefore, you've got 2 days. 2 days is enough. And the Torah on Friday, and then they were told by Shabbos. The other man says, no, you need 3 days. They stopped Wednesday, they had Thursday and Friday, and then they were okay. The other man Doma says, the final man Doma is Rabbi Akiva, who actually is one more in a minute. He says they actually waited 60 hours because he works out from Wednesday morning till Friday night is 60 hours. Says the Gemara, you need to have 6 whole oiners, 72 hours. And now, just very briefly, if you're interested, it comes out the reason why a woman has to wait for the 5th day is because of this line of Gemara. And because of the Gon had a different gilsa, in fact, some people are a bit more make about this 5 days. But let's just get it clear. What is the 6 oiners? If you say it takes 72 hours for Zerah to stop being tummy, and we want a woman to start the Shiva Nakim only after that period of time, so 72 hours, how many days is that? 3 days. So why do we have to wait for the 5th day? The answer is like this. Let's say a woman does Tashmish a minute before Nacht. So then let's say she does Tashmish a minute before Nacht on a Sunday afternoon. So then, if we wait 72 hours, how long does it take for the Tashmish, for the Zerah to stop being poilat? So you've got the whole of Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So really, by Thursday night, she could go straight away. The problem is a minute before Nacht, a minute after Nacht is easily interchangeable. And she might think it was a minute before Nacht. And really it was a minute after Nacht. So therefore we have to always add a day for this confusion. So therefore it has to be 4 full days. So always the 5th day is when she can start the Shemini Kim. Once we've got an extra day, then indeed we don't need to wait 5 full days. For example, if a woman sees on a Sunday afternoon, she doesn't wait 5 full days. She can already start the Shiva Nakim on the Thursday by Shkir. Even though it wasn't full, because the answer is you've had a full 72 hours, and therefore it's okay. And that's the Mekoy that we wait for the 5th day for a woman to start the Shiva Nakim. Like what's like this? Omar Chista. We're discussing now the Tumah of Zerah. Zerah comes out of a man. Tmeo called man shilach. That means if it's dry, then even an hour after it came out of a man, it is already toy. That means if a man sees Zerah and the Zerah gets dry, then what happens is it's a story. But if it's moist, then even if it's moist for a week, then it is tomei. Mosivav sheishes v'chol beged v'chol oya shiolav shichva Zerah. Prat shichva Zerah she's srucha. That shichva Zerah which is dirty, meaning it's smelling, so it's no longer usable. Because once Zerah starts smelling, it becomes not able to create pregnancy. Or not about where it came from a man. No, it came from a woman. It comes out like this, that when Mashiach comes, it will want to be toy. So therefore, if you touch a man's underwear, let's say you're doing washing for your sons, or for one person, wife who's doing washing for her sons or for her husband, for his wife, then by touching the underwear, one has to be very, very careful because it could be there's a bit of moist Zerah. Bit of moist Zerah, the halacha is that it's metame. If it's dry, then it is not metame anymore. Now it says 2 very simple things. Boya proper. Shichva Zerah shel Yisro. Shichva Zerah v'yit b'mei nochris. In the Yiddish, in a Goysha womb. I mean, let's say a Yiddish man has relations with a Goysha woman. The question is, man, what's the din? Till now we had 4-way argument how long it takes for the Zerah to go bad, and then it's not metame. If you remember, what's the 4 ways? 2 days, 3 days, 5 oinus at 60 hours or 72 hours. 4-way machlekes. What happens if it's in a non-Jewish room? What do we say? You saw the De'igiv mitzvahs, because Kaisal are constantly worried about how to keep the mitzvahs, Chavel Gufayu, the bodies get hot. Since the bodies get hot because they're worried about doing mitzvahs, therefore the Zerah goes bad very quickly. Akum Delay De'igiv mitzvahs. Goyim are not worried about mitzvahs, they're more relaxed about life. Look. So if the Zerah doesn't go bad, and therefore it's tummy for much longer. Maybe because they eat worms and things, which is very bad, therefore it makes the bodies hot, therefore makes it worse. If a man has relations with an animal, and the Zerah goes into the cow, and then what happens is it's discharging from the cow. Do we say that it's tummy or not? Ishod is the poised the masrachas. There's a difference between the womb of a woman and a womb of a cow. In that, there's the womb of a woman. There's a corridor, then the womb. By an animal, the womb is much closer to the surface, to the area where you go in. Therefore, since there's no corridor, air is much colder there. It's much cooler. Since it's much cooler, therefore the zera doesn't go bad so quickly. Actually, by a woman, because there's a corridor, so therefore this heat is retained, and therefore it go bad much quicker. It means the Gemara says like this: a zera that gets discharged from a cow or from a goyish woman, how long does it take to become tummy? And we're not talking about the zera of a goy. Why we're not talking about the zera of a goy? Anybody want to suggest why not? The zera of a goy is actually not metami. It's only the zera of a yid is metami, right? We do a bon on the zera of a goy is also shtik metami, but we do rice the zera of a goy is not metami. So zera of a yid that goes in a goyish womb on the womb of an animal, there's a shayla over here. How long exactly does it take to go bad and therefore not be tummy? Teiku, the Gemara says teiku. There's no answer. And this is where we're up to. You can actually, it's very, very interesting Gemaras. The next Gemara is all about Matan Torah for sure. So it's very good for sure. I want to say a very, very, very short point, and that is like this: that one of the interesting things about Rus, it says that Torah kimisametza silo leches. The Vulnagon says misametza silo leches. Normally saw that Rus was misametza silo leches. She was pushing, she was stressing herself to walk. Says the Vulnagon that when Naomi saw that for Rus it was an effort to come to Eretz Yisrael, she realized that she genuinely wanted to do the right thing. Says the Gaon that when things are very, very, very easy, it's usually a sign that you're going downhill. I like to go biking every so often. There's nothing more thrilling than going downhill on a bike. It's a schmack, you just fly down. Going uphill is absolute torture. Always looking for a path that you always have to go downhill. That'd be nice. Lamaisa says the Gon says mamish this point that when your person's doing an effort, so therefore it's a sign that he's lifting himself up. When it's very, very, very easy, then it's a sign that he's just letting himself go. A person has to be pushing himself. And he says like this very interesting thing that imagine a person could be zeicher to the whole Torah without a drop of effort. Right? Imagine you'd wake up one morning and know the whole Torah. So you think to yourself, wow, that's brilliant. So he says that's not true. In Olam Hazeh, if you could wake up in the morning and the house was built for you without anything, just suddenly came into being, that would be very good. You save yourself all that effort. When it comes to Torah, the ikar of Torah is the effort one puts in Torah. So if a person makes an effort, goes to a shiur or something, even if at the end he doesn't know much Torah, he says he gets schar, because the schar for Torah is not how much you know, it's how much effort you put in. And that's what Naomi saw about Rus. That she was actually putting in an effort. Once she saw that she was putting in an effort, then she said, oh, she's royal to become a yid. It's a very important message. Many times we think to ourselves, how well did I do? No matter how well we did, it's how much effort we put in. If we try, even if we have no success, it's good. If we succeed without any effort, it's also no good. They should all have a very, very good job and a good Kabbalah Satira. And I appreciate you joining on to keep the share going. And I don't know, hopefully it'll be recorded later, people think. And a very good job to Hatzlach. Any questions? It was quite a hard Gemara, I must say. It was not an easy Gemara. Okay, so Mr. Hashem on Sunday we'll carry on. Okay, I'm turning it off and I'll ask Moshe to upload it.
Oh, yeah.
Had a good Yom Tov. Good Yom Tov. It's nothing.